Hello and welcome. I'm so jazzed to see you today. This is a workshop I've been really looking forward to giving for a very long time. It's a lot of fun. It is going to be very epic. And this is one that has been like so crucial for so long in life. So welcome to How to Be a Champion. And this came to me very inspirationally in an incredibly powerful conversation I had with a beautiful man, and there's a lot of love. And we were talking about our idols. We were talking about our role models. We were talking about the people in the world that we care about being like, that we see a quality in. We're like, that person, wow, I really admire them. If you consider why you admire somebody, why somebody gets you fired up, why somebody inspires you, why somebody is the type of person that you'd like to be in some way, and you think of yourself when you're at your best, when you're in flow, when you're inspired, when your higher self is your current self, the ideal, best, most optimized in every way you. Not to say there's anything wrong with the normal you. I'm sure the normal you is a delightful person who I'd love to get to know better. But this idea of champion, this vibrational qualifier, you could say, what is it? Well, when we consider champions, we can consider people who are leaders, people who are at their best, people who have personal power but are kind, right? If you think of like the Trojan War, and you had Achilles, and Achilles was, you could say, the champion of the Greeks, of the Myrmidons. Yet at some point, Achilles, their champion, kind of lost that status when, stricken with grief, he dragged Hector's dead body around the battlefield, which was very disgraceful to a soldier in their spirit, especially to the cultural beliefs that both cultures held. And so you have somebody who, you could say was born to be a champion, was made, but he did train his whole life. And he was a champion, and then he fell from grace and died with some disgrace. So what does it mean when we're giving championness and when we take it upon ourselves? And how do we lose it? And how can we, if not, can we get it back? Well, I think the last question is really easy to answer. We've all been our best and our worst, relative even to that month. At any month, you have a best moment, best month of that month, and you have the worst moment of that month, the worst day, the worst hour, the worst moment, whatever. Yet each month, are you going like this? Are you going like this? Or are you going like this? Or are you kind of going really nowhere in circles? Life is just kind of whatever, right? Maybe you hit a high every now and again. Maybe you get really productive or really inspiring or create something or help a lot of people and you feel great. And maybe sometimes you're just hanging out. You're all right. And then, maybe other life circumstances, you might be a little down here, lower in spirits, lower in health, lower in motivation, lower as compared to the height of your highest, your ideal, your champion self, your role model self. So this workshop has several different parts. One part is generally defining a champion and showing its realness and accessibility. We don't use that word in our culture very much, and I'd love to offer that we can reclaim it. Part two is some very specific, straightforward things, daily routines, habits, goals, ways of thinking about goals, ways of thinking about personal self, personal growth, ways of being seen, and other very specific to-dos. So the practical stuff we'll get to right away. Now, I usually go very deep into mystical topics, and I like at least including a meditation. But this will be a very different type of meditation. This won't be going off into other dimensions and hanging out with giraffes roller skating on rainbows, although that's always fun. This meditation will be living in your champion self in certain specific scenarios. And when you visualize something, you wire your brain for it. And while the esoteric can do a lot, basketball players, golfers, martial artists, probably pro StarCraft players, if you review your performance and you allow yourself to fully see yourself, to be seen, and to consider seeing what you love and what you don't love, you reinforce what you love and you don't really focus on what you don't love. You focus on the actions you want to take, not just the actions you took, once you've learned from them. And so this is going to be the same thing. But instead of reviewing a previous best unless you had that fully recorded. If so, like, please share it. Let's get a wall of sharing our best moments. But so you're going to actually be viewing a future of your ideal champion self day. And that visualization is actually going to have another new component. And so just to prepare for it now, you're going to record a voice note of yourself. So your phone should have a way to record voice notes. If you need to check, please try not to get distracted in messages or things. But just get ready to have a way of recording your voice. And of course, this, like everything, is optional. But I'm going to share with you a technique I've used for 15 years. And when used, especially when used consistently, it's very powerful for programming yourself, your inner self, your personality, and your outward world. And then at the end, as always, we'll deconstruct, draw a few links, answer Q&A, and stuff like that. So as far as being a champion self, let's finish defining that. So as you know the qualities of your best, highest, strongest self, do you constantly consider where you are on that continuum of those qualities? We can just go 1 to 10. And let's be realistic here. Let's think of maybe 3 or 4 qualities. You could say presence in the present moment, like mindfulness. You could say caring about the bigger picture. You could say constantly in an upward spiral in your physical health and your mental health, with the peak of mental health being thriving, peak state, flourishing, joy, like the high level emotions. And if you've had access to the enlightenment continuum, however you define it, you can add that as your 9 or 10, if that's been consistent for you. But the key with these metrics is to have things that you can achieve realistically now. You can always raise the bar. Next month, your scale can be going up to 11. But it's so easy to think of our best in an extreme circumstance, right? A specific day of your life, a graduation day, day of getting a job, day of leaving a job, day of meeting or marrying somebody you love or leaving somebody you didn't, day of recovering from something major, day of a big internal shift that lasted. Those are exceptions and they're great, but they're hard to reproduce. I've always had a good time on my birthday. Every birthday, I'm in a good mood. I'm expecting good things to happen. I'm just like, I'm determined to have a good day on my birthday, and I always do. And every month, I see the reminder, make today another birthday day. In other words, have 12. And then why not have it every week, every day? And I found that the rarity of the occasion made it more special. So the reason why I want you to consider not those rare occasions is because you want something you can evoke every day. And I would offer that you pick as your 9 and your 10 the things that you've felt persistently when you lived a certain way and thought a certain way for many days at a time. And you probably know what kicked you on it, at least some types of things. And I think you definitely know what took you off of it. So that, Achilles, Hector, disgrace type of scenario, you could say, the fallen champion archetype. That's something we want to be aware of so we can do other things. So not to fixate on what's wrong, just to analyze and then move on and focus on the positive in the visualization. So, all right, let's get down to it. I want you to take one of your qualities. And if you have a way you can write something down, this is a workshop, I'd say, get something, and ideally something physical media is best. So I'm just going to talk for a second as if somebody needs to find it. But it uses a different part of your brain when you actually write with pen and paper. It might be really rare, but it's way better than computers. There's no possibility of distraction. It's physical, it's slower, you go deeper. Our species, human beings, used to have attention spans longer than a tweet's worth of writing and a 3-minute song worth of music. When all you could read was like a thick hardcover paperback book, when the only way you could communicate was by writing longhand, no emails, no voice notes, brains could contemplate things more deeply, which is why there's so much deep, rich thought in classical work. And now we can still go deep, but our society at large is focused on doing things quickly, getting that dopamine from that screen, and we can sometimes lose that depth, which is why my workshops go so long, because it's a test of my endurance. I could probably go twice as long now, and it may offer a test for yours. All right, so you have your pen and paper if you choose to grab it, or whatever equivalent, and write down this quality and write down 1 to 10. And I want you just to pick two or three, words or maybe a short sentence fragment at those three markers. So like, 2, 5, and 9, for example. You can fill the whole thing out later, but it's good to have just enough of a sense that the continuum. You don't have to actually name each of these. So I'll give you a second to do that. And once you've finished, consider and just know this intuitively. Consider creating those states, not waiting for them, but if you haven't been in them, why wait when you can create? Just like to build my very terrible inner rapper a little bit, just bit by bit. So once you have these three qualities, consider how to create them. So break it down even further. I should have diagrammed it. It should look like a tree. And I promise starting next workshop, I'll have my easel and I'll draw diagrams for you. I'm just such a good visualizer, I sometimes forget. So on the left, you have your 1 to 10. Just to the right of that, you have 3 words or short phrases on like, for example, 2, 5, and 9. And then from there, from each of those phrases, like a decision tree that branches, I want you to list 5 things that put you in that state. So I know we're focusing on a lower one of 2, but just to be aware of it, to avoid or do differently for those. And so as you're writing yours, if you need some ideas or you finish, if you just want to write it, then you can hit pause and come back when you're done writing. I'd say that the scale I would use for myself is spiritual development. It's what I teach, it's what I am, it's what I do, it's what I feel is the most objective, important thing in life, assuming you're going to survive throughout the next day. And I'd say my 2 is a reactive, ordinary mind and a fearful mind, and a mind that has lost sense with my purpose, and a mind that doesn't really feel connected with soul, can't really be in devotion. And the things that take me in it are not enough self-care, or it's kind of communicating lack, but I could say under an hour a day of self-care. And I consider exercise and meditation and cleaning and other things self-care. So maybe I should broaden that category. Not eating well, working too much. I love what I do, so I do a lot of it. And at the moment, I'm doing a number of things. And a low, if not relative, absence of love, felt sense love. That doesn't mean just from human beings, although that's great, but just love in myself, love from the divine, love for beauty. And ideally, yeah, love with and from and for other human beings. When that's not present, um, 2 has more leverage. And interestingly, when that is present, when there is more love in my system, I'm way more likely to be a 9. So qualities of a 9, and I'll do the middle last. Qualities of 9 for me, my best spiritual development, I'd say, I'm very wise. I'd say I'm very aligned. I'm very in tune with mind, body, spirit. My posture is good. I'm living in my truth without any bullshit. I honor my intuition as my inner voice. If there's a mystical ability that's right to happen, I do the appropriate amount of preparatory work and work during and work after, so the event can occur and then life can continue on. I create and provide a lot of very high quality transformational content that helps people shift and raise an awareness and heal and learn and be really delighted by what they're experiencing. And then I'd say one other quality of a 9 in spiritual development is life is really in flow. Synchronicities happen on demand. If there's a choice to be made for reality, it happens very quickly, synchronicity manifestation. And I'm at peace with what I can and cannot do in all components, including the mystical. All right, so a 5. I'd say a 5 is a blend of the 2 just to move this workshop along, and you could take those qualities and kind of blend them to the middle. But a few things that that define 5 are, I kind of follow my habits sometimes, but it's start and stop. Kind of eat healthy sometimes, start and stop. Kind of do my Ideal meditation, so what would take me up to a 9 is 3 hours a day of self-care. Well, and a 10 is 3 hours of meditation and then self-care. Maybe that's my 11. And a 5 just kind of has half of the good stuff and half of the bad stuff. It can go either way. Things can kind of sustain but probably go down, and a 9 just builds itself and feels good, right? So maybe you could use your body, maybe you could use your career, your friends, but as you have these categories and you really flesh out 5 actions that take you to each, you'll have your recipe for raising in that dimension. And so you see now why I say I only have 4 categories. It's actually a lot of work per category. And I would offer for you as a project, and I offer this to everybody who reaches out to me for mentoring, is make a video of you representing and being in that ideal self, that high quality, that peaceful, loving presence, that on fire and ready to make things happen, that spiritually aligned self. Whatever it is for you, get a video of yourself in that mode. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And as you watch that, you'll entrain with the mirror neurons of your own face and your own voice. You'll have the chance to overcome anything that arises when you watch a video of yourself. It took me time, but I did it. Anything's doable. Now it's fun and funny. And then a train horn just went off, so whatever that would mean for you. And you could watch the video of yourself. And as you watch the video of yourself, you reattune to that vibration. So you feel great on one day, you make your video, the next day you feel like crap, you watch your video. Maybe your crap was a 1.5 and the video took you to a 3, or maybe all the way back up to a 9. But as long as you watch it, you'll move up. Even if you feel crappy and have to heal something because of something that comes up when watching it, or even thinking about watching it, that's kind of clearing away the vines from the work team that's building statues. So that's necessary too. All right, so you might get where I'm going with this. So I'm going to move on. Where I'm ultimately going with this is you make a whole video for all of the states that you want to be in. And we'll expand on this video later, but each of those 3 states should be in it, even just like 2 minutes per state, if you want to be very lean. And it's good to share things. It's good to share a story. It's good to speak for a little bit. Don't just say a word and have a big facial expression smile. But be really clear in what you want yourself to absorb. All right, so sorry, there's some construction outside, 1 sec. So as you're shifting up, as you're rewatching this video, once you've recorded it, that's gonna take care of one element of that scale. And so breaking this down, I like to say demystifying mysticism, so we could say deconstructing personal growth. If you have something which will reliably take you up, say 1.5 points, then the most work you'll ever have to do is 8.5. If you're at rock bottom and you want to be at 10, 10 might seem like a lot. Rock 8.5, you can overcome that. That's or at least that's less of a load. And so if you add enough of these, getting to a 10 and staying there becomes more effortless. It may require a difference in behavior patterns. It may require a shift in personality. It may require an entire upgrade of self. But isn't that nice to have? Doesn't that happen automatically? So that's the first part of our video, the affirmation creation video. And the first part is tuning to your ideal self. All right, so the next component of this, before we shift into the meditation mode, is considering your goals, considering your dreams in this current reality, not the reality that was a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, like reality as it is today. You could watch this video every day and reset every day if big stuff happens in your life or the world. But in general, you don't want to make more than 1 or 2 of these a year. And so because you want consistent progress. So you create this video, this affirmation creation, and the second part of it is all of your goals, all of your dreams, all of your hopes, all of your intentions that you knew you could realistically achieve in the time frame. 3 months, maybe longer, but I'll explain why in a little bit. And living your life as if those are true and present. That will instill in you the subconscious confidence, hearing the story of your day. In the esoteric, it'll send out electromagnetic waves from your heart and your head It'll send out a lot of energy in the field. It'll shift the quantum field of probability of things that occur. But in just the basic psychology field, you'll be rehearsing certain things you'll be doing, in certain ways you'll be doing them, in certain ways you'll be being. And those circuits will just get used to firing in those patterns. And as they're used to firing, they're going to fire more and more automatically. So you won't need to reprogram yourself. And, if anyone takes issue with that, we're programmed all the time. Every single thing we encounter through sensory input, doesn't matter if it's news or fake news or a good movie or a bad movie or a song or a conversation, everything we see, there's input. And there's a lot to support the statement that every input is stored permanently and every input changes you permanently. Maybe a small amount, but as my Sifu once said, everything counts. And if that's hard to swallow, just allow more things to count each day. As you allow something to matter, sorry about that, as you allow something to matter, your motivation to direct it can go up, and so can your abilities. Always, spiritually, it's nice to be safe and okay and happy with things as they are, but you also want the ability to claim your power to choose what you want to change. And if it's realistically, safely, sustainably changeable, that's what champions do. They make change in the world. We have a few questions on Facebook, trauma and magic doors. And that was in the workshop yesterday. Thank you for mentioning it, though. If anyone does have questions, please post them in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom. I'll check those periodically. All right. So for getting in this state where you feel clear and confident about your goals, about your life, about your personality, about these qualities of yourself as like a empowered champion badass, right? I'll encourage you, but this is to give you the tools to encourage yourself, really. If this video is just, boosting you up, you could become dependent on stuff like that. So that's why I want to be practical and, teach you to fish in this sense, or teach you to fish a different way or better, depending on how you view this. So I'd say maybe 4 or 5 goals. You don't want too many. You can go general categories, you can go very specific, and you could use a SMART goal system where it's specific, measurable, realistic, achievable, or accountable and timely. Or you could use any other system you want, but it's good to be very, very clear. And SMART goals are easy because information on them is everywhere. On each of these goals, describe life as if those goals have occurred and you're living them in full sensory immersion. And because a lot of you probably follow my mystical stuff, manifestation-wise, you can apply the framework that when you view this, you're viewing a parallel reality, a parallel world, parallel dimension, a probability in the field, and you're shifting your consciousness to the version of you, mind and body, that already exists there. So you could say you're teleporting, you're manifesting, you're reality train surfing, you're dimension hopping, you're creating worlds, all that stuff is true. And so I'd offer use the map that serves you best. And if you'd like a map, I offer many, and links for that are on the Facebook post. All right, so you have this affirmation creation. When should you ideally watch it? You should watch it in the morning to help you get ready for and excited in your day and focus on your success. And at night to program your subconscious and direct your brain as you go to sleep. If you've noticed that if you go to bed angry or happy or scared or overthinking, you can often wake up in that same state. Well, if you want to start your day like a champion, end your day like a champion. And if a champion knows and has decided that a thing should be done, there's no more should. It will be done, right? So I'd offer for you, can you touch that high vibration of champion as you define it and say, this will be done? And it can be this AC, this affirmation creation, or something else in your life that is of, paramount importance. Maybe not urgent for survival, maybe not convenient or comfortable, but it's of such importance to you being at these high vibes and building and sustaining this dream life, this goal life, checking off everything on the vision board, right? That one thing that you need to rise up and be a little bit greater to do. Will you do that before bed? And you already know the answer. And if it's a yes, like, yes. And if it's a no, then maybe block out some time to shift that to like, yeah, absolutely. And then at some point, you won't need to pump yourself up. At some point, when you're at a state of alignment, sustained awakening, however you get there, through a lot of the work I put out, through other people's, and through your own, it's like, oh, I will do this. And you don't need to pump yourself up. So there's two ways we can look at this. One way of leveraging emotions and one way of transcending emotions. Now, I'm not saying be like Spock and be a robot and have no expressions and have no personality. I'm saying, as has been communicated before in different ways, be at the point where you can choose emotion. We talked about choice over all aspects of reality. Can you choose your emotion with less and less effort so it becomes as easy as that? So that's the benefit of your spiritual growth. It makes being and staying a champion easier, significantly by far. And so once you're at this vibration of like, you know you can do this, you know you can rock this, to you'll do this and you can rock this, and you don't need to pump yourself up because it's just going to happen. And you can choose to be excited, but if you try to like be on fire all the time, what happens to a fire that's on all the time where other circumstances don't change? It burns out. And most of us, if not all of us, have been there. I've been there many times in many ways. My two back-to-back near-death experiences were both things that stemmed from burnout. Two dark nights I had before then were both from burnout. And in every case, the burnout came from not accepting the truth of the situation and trying to take on and trying to do too much. And so this is where getting real is so crucial, right? Achilles, going back to our previous example, and I'm referencing Achilles as told in the beautiful story, The Song of Achilles. That same author wrote Circe, which is a beautiful novel about the goddess who became mortal and who invented witchcraft. Very, very well-written books, beautifully performed audiobooks. So that's the version of Achilles I'm referencing. It's pretty accurate, but just in case you've heard other stories. So Achilles trained. He was intentional. He knew things about his future. And I'm not going to spoil the book for you. And the Hector thing is known throughout culture. And if that's a spoiler, I apologize. But he really prepared, right? He really did what was necessary. And he kept himself in check, and he didn't do what wasn't necessary. He didn't really care what people thought about him unless it really affected his goals or the well-being of somebody he cared about. And when he lost himself, when he dragged Hector's body around, he forgot himself. He let go of his mastery over emotion. And imagine the old world, you're not video gaming drones for military action. You're standing in front of somebody that you have to stab with a sharp object and a lot of force before they stab you. And laparoscopy wasn't invented yet. Neither was laser surgery. They amputated when stuff went wrong, if you live that long. So, in that intense scenario, to be an excellent warrior, you have to be at peace amidst turmoil, right? If you're watching this live as it's being recorded, that is true now more than ever. So if you need to lead other people, if you need to rise up for other people and yourself, and you try to muster the intensity and the passion to say, everybody, we're going to be fine. We'll figure it out. We'll build new careers. We'll, help the elderly. We'll improvise for toilet paper and food. We'll practice fasting. We'll focus on a mystical growth and meditation, and we'll be fine. If you do that and try to force it, try to add so much fire without, enough water and the other elements, you'll burn out. You'll get tired. And as you get tired physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you might slip down that continuum because you didn't do this in a sustainable way. And then maybe you're at a 3 or a 4. And you're like, oh crap, I mapped out a 2 in David's workshop. Okay, I don't want to go there. How do I get myself back up to a 5? Right? And then we seesaw, right? It's okay to seesaw between an 8 and a 9 or a 9 and a 10 or anywhere in that range. But if you're seesawing through your okay self and your crappy self with only a rare spike upward, how you're investing your time and attention needs to change. And I'm saying that directly because I needed to hear that many times in my life. I obviously needed to hear that the 2 times I almost died from my own negligence. And that's really helped me own that as much as we can see into other worlds, as many other dimensions as there are, as great as high positive emotions can feel, however they come about, we can't let ourselves be ruled by them. And if we have a strong aversion to the negative emotions and a strong, passionate desire, intense attachment to the positive emotions, there's going to be this battle in front of us and this judgment. Oh, I'm not feeling sad. Oh, fuck, I suck. Or I don't think I'm good enough. Yeah, I probably need more of something, or somebody has to help me, or I should just let that go, right? We don't want to have to run from those. If we catch them, we notice them, we process them. Maybe we schedule a time when we're resourced or getting a session to heal the root of that tree, but we don't obsess, we don't become neurotic. And by not craving the high highs and by not demonizing the low lows, and same thing for everything in between, we can just be, right? If there's something that you need to summon your strength to do and be aligned to do, you don't have to be pumped up to do that. In fact, if you're feeling crappy, it'll be nice to just take a break from emotion and just do what you need to do. And you know that if it was a life critical event, you would summon a lot of emotion, right? If it was absolutely critical, you knew you could do it. We've all had situations in life, in a lot of scenarios where we needed to be in a certain state, we got ourselves there. But again, changing state takes stamina, takes willpower. Maybe you can do it to a certain amount each day as a percentage of the day or your emotional energy if you want to quantify all that. But if you can just shift to the champion that is, I not need to be the champion, brah. If you can be the champion that is, that stillness can sustain effortlessly. Now, does this require some definition of enlightenment? Well, if you don't have that definition, then no, why put a restriction on yourself? Don't be silly. But claiming your personal power, again, is sovereignty to control the world around you. And I would add and offer maturity to accept what you can't or possibly shouldn't control, right? The only way you can be at peace with reality as it is, change reality to be what you want, or not change it and not need to change it, right? That's the power of the pause. Minor spoiler alert for the book, but not a major one, and it's an important point here. So if you really want to read this book and don't want any spoilers, just mute me for 20, 30 seconds. But popular culture references can be great because they can be shared narratives. So there's a period of time where Achilles is very determined not to act in a certain way. And another person wants him to act in that way. By Achilles not acting, Achilles wins in a type of political situation, or at least he gains effectiveness by inaction. He's not choosing to affect his emotions. He could be happy or sad. He could be seen in public or not seen, but he's just keeping very consistent and not acting. And when confronted, he doesn't get emotional about the situation. He keeps consistent with it. And so his champion title, metaphorically or physically, literally, in that scenario, isn't on the battlefield. It's in just normal everyday living. He's just living a pretty normal life, not needing to be a soldier every single day, not needing to follow some script every single day. And his championness held such strength in its presence and consistency that its effectiveness spoke for him, and spoke for it. And then others began to speak for him and for it based on that aura of champion. And sure, you could say that was merited from his physical actions, but hey, we're physical beings. We all have physical actions that affect the world in some way. All right, it's time for the meditation in just a second. So if anybody has questions on anything I said so far or wants elaboration, etc., please post it now. And then it can be off your mind. And then after the meditation, I'll address Q&A. And I'll give you just about a minute or two for that, just to think of something that is a burning curiosity that you'd like to hear about. And I'd like to offer for you just to take a breath. and taking all that information and realized that it was delivered so fast that it was hard for your mind to resist chewing it. A lot of people say I go too quickly with the level of depth that I share. And there's actually a psychological reason for my speed. I'm completely capable of speaking at a slower rate. And it can be soothing, and it can be a healthy part of meditation. But when you offer somebody the assignment that they must grow 2 inches taller, and you pause between different words for the contemplative yogi mind, in those pauses, the mind of the listener can start to think about, why should I grow 2 inches? Should I grow 2 inches? I don't want to grow 2 inches. Is he really talking to me? And the mind can do all this stuff, right? If somebody's talking at you at a pace that is quick enough for you to understand, but not quick enough for you to completely dissect, then what will happen is it will all be in your subconscious. And after the workshop, you will have the gestalt. And with the gestalt, you will be able to take it away for yourself. If you wanted to really internalize detail by detail, you would hit pause every time there's a significant detail. And every time you read a book, you would hit pause if it's an audio, or you would pause and fold and write something in the page to deeply internalize that. And so I'm showing you the pace of our culture, but I'm also doing something to prevent the critical mind from picking at things and putting up resistance. Because and I'm going to go to medium pace now, just so you can be vigilant for the phenomenon I just mentioned, but I won't make it as easy for you. If you are aware that you are in a self-critical, self-doubting mood, or any type of mood or emotional state you don't want, that will carry, and you will associate the material with that information. If the primary vibration of this workshop is excited, and a reflection of excited is speaking quickly, then you will associate the emotion of excited to the workshop material. And when you think about it, you will get excited about it. And unfortunately, peacefulness, I feel, can only really be held in a clear heart. And talking about intense topics like our low points, or why we haven't gotten there yet, or offering a habit that is a significant life and behavioral change and can lead to them. That stuff can be kind of heavy. And sometimes people could be in a wondering, daydreaming, contemplative, or neurotic state. And so I'd rather you get the gestalt and really get the whole thing and say, yeah, I'm going to be this, I'm going to do this practices. And if you want the details, again, you could pause or you could rewatch this. And I offer for you, I always offer, when you rewatch any video I offer, please add another comment, even if it's just the word cows or cows on fire in water, just to balance, as a reminder to yourself of your success to that point. And just a heads up for me, so if there's ever a day I support you more, I can be aware of like who's really making the effort. Then you know you can all support each other for, oh, you got a 10-day streak on this topic. So as you're considering becoming this version of yourself, and as you're considering the visualization we're about to do of your dream day and your dream ideal self, I want you to continue what we just discussed. And if there's anything self-critical, anything self-deprecatory, anything self-limiting, and anything, of the vibration of victimhood or victimization, and step out of any ego roles with this. If there's anything in life, it doesn't matter what anybody said. If you feel a slight amount of victim energy with it, it goes out the window. Whether it is or isn't, or should or shouldn't be there, or how to change it, or should you change it, all that stuff, put it in a box. That's for another another workshop. But just, I only want you to feel receptive and open. And if you really need to feel emotion, feeling excited is a good one because it draws you to something. But it's not a good one to get addicted to. So, underexcited, if you can sustain it, is happy optimism. So as you're getting used to choosing your emotions, even if that's a totally new concept, I'm offering for you to choose and maintain happy optimism or excitement if the first isn't enough, or if you're able, I'm offering for you to maintain stillness. And every video I produce, every talk, teaching, transmission, book, session is custom to the audience that it's being offered to. So I'm tuning into everyone live psychically, at least to the extent that I'm able, and I'm tuning into the group of humanity that this is designed to serve. So with that in mind, I'd offer for you to make your room and your body comfortable. And anything you need to do with your body, anything you need to do with the lighting or the sound or other people in the vicinity, just take a moment and make those adjustments so you can get in a meditative state and not have to think about your physical surroundings. Now, from this presence of being, as you feel comfortable, close your eyes and just review without emotions a list of things that you would like to experience in yourself and the world. Don't go into story, just one or two times review that list. It's okay if it's shorter or longer. Everything is fine. It's just in the privacy of your own thoughts. And once you've done that, just trust yourself to recall the right things in the right order. And now what I'd like for you to do is take these things, all of these things you just thought about, and put them in a box. Again, you're going to trust your subconscious and just take this box and push it to the side. And a little conveyor belt carries it into a beautiful little cave, and a little clear wall goes down over that box, so your thoughts aren't in you, but you could access them with some effort. And now I want you to take any other thoughts you have and just gather them up collectively, visually with your eyes closed, but all those thoughts in a box as well. And when your thoughts are in that box, or pallet of boxes, or mountains of boxes, whatever they might be, just push them lightly away and let the conveyor belts carry them away to beautiful caves with beautiful walls that slide in front. And allow your hand to turn a little dial, making the walls of the caves go from clear to cloudy, to moving clouds, to thick moving clouds, to opaque clouds, and then to whatever background you want. And you can't even see the boxes of your thoughts. I want you to slowly let the lights in this inner room that you can see with your eyes closed in this visualization, I want you to let the lights dim. And as you let the lights dim, I want you to allow yourself to breathe in completely fully and then exhale completely fully. I want you to inhale from your lower, middle, and upper abdomen as much as you can, and just gently let it out from your upper, middle, and lower abdomen, maybe letting your stomach move in. And then as you inhale again, just completely relax your stomach. No one's live streaming your stomach. Let your stomach completely relax, maybe for once. Let your inner, upper, middle abdomen, all of your abdomen, your whole chest expand as you breathe in. And just let everything go as you exhale. And again, slowly breathe in this darker room with the clouds moving in the background. And just continue slowly breathing at your own pace. As the clouds are moving, sometimes they're thicker, sometimes they're thinner. Behind them is blue sky. Just breathe in slowly and breathe out. And if your mind needs more, imagine ducks flying from right to left. Maybe one or two, maybe a whole V. So you're slowly breathing in and out with the clouds and the ducks. And now continuously breathing slowly at your own pace. I want you in your inner vision, in your inner world, to look to the right and see behind a few clouds a beautiful sun. And if you look a little farther up and a little farther to the right, all the clouds will have passed. And as you give it just a little bit more time, breathing slowly and deeply, all of the clouds are now passing over the sun, passing that space beyond the sun, and all of the clouds are now almost gone. And the sun is shining bright and beautiful, and it's a perfect day. And now as you look down towards the ground and in your level surroundings, not up at the sky, I want you to see the place that you're meant to live. See the space under your feet. In your mind's eye, let your feet step up and down and just feel what they step on, what it sounds like, what it looks like. I want you in your inner vision to look right and left and see any representations of nature, any buildings, maybe specific people, no thought, no story, just even a cardboard image, but see certain people that are right for you to be around, and it's right for you to be around them. And I want you to see, looking behind you, a place that you can walk into, and it's a place where you spend a lot of time, can sleep. And just in your mind's eye, let yourself float around and through the house and see some of the furniture, maybe see some of the people, if there are people there. See the room where you sleep and the things you've always wanted. See the place where you exercise on the property. See the place where you work. See the place where you eat. And see an amazing, beautiful, perfect, high-tech, really awesome bathroom. And if there's any animals or features of nature, allow your inner vision to move around that property and see those. And now I want you to look down where you would check the time in your inner eye and see that it's about 10:30 a.m. And see some simple notification that all your appointments for the day have been canceled, unless you choose to accept certain ones. And now with your schedule, I just want you to program in your inner eye what you would love to do that day, maybe not even having any schedule at all, but program any or all of that day with the things that you should be doing in terms of your life, like the life that is really right for you in every respect. And as you program those things, I want you to hold your schedule up to your face. And for the thing that you're looking forward to most, maybe it's being in front of a big audience, maybe it's napping or painting or making love, maybe it's exploring, just the thing that you would love to do most in that day that you scheduled. I want you to, as you look at your schedule, to see a bit of a portal open to that moment, that chunk of time, and just move in your inner vision through that portal into that moment, that chunk of time. And everything that represents, everything about yourself, your surroundings, everything about the actions that took you to that point in this day, just be aware of those. See what you see, smell what you smell, hear what you hear, and feel how you feel. And consider how you feel, not just how the situation makes you feel, but how you feel about life in this place, in this scenario, in this life. Feel the power that you have that enables you and allows you to serve and exist and work and be in this way. And know the things that you did that got easier and easier each time you did them, to the point where they were effortless, that took you here and keeps you here. And just consider for a second looking at some thing on your phone in your inner eye, maybe a checklist, maybe a calendar, maybe a journal, maybe some other thing, videos, etc., that you created for yourself to track your progress to this. And in whatever medium that is, just see your progress over time, over the recent time, over your longer history of life, and see how all the things that supported you to be in this space, and just see how you feel about them. And the one thing that your former self, before this workshop, before this vision, thought was hard, I want you in this vision, in this great life that is how it should be, think of how you feel about that item now. Now that you've done it 30, 50, 100 times, now that you've been living it, feel how you feel about it. Do you look forward to doing it? Do you not even have to think about it? Did you only need to do it once or twice and it's over and you've been experiencing the benefits since then? Just see how you feel about that one item of form of resistance. And now I want you to shift to another event this day or this week in this vision of this great life. And you're at a table with good friends, people you care about who care about you, people who really know you, who really know and see the real you, and love you and appreciate you and accept you and respect you and know the work you're here to give and care to help you genuinely because they believe in you. And realize as you look at the people around the table, maybe focusing on one, you feel the same in all ways about that person as well. There's respect, there's friendship, there's deep knowing. And maybe before this workshop in that other life, you knew that person already, but in this vision, things have shifted or increased or possibly stayed the same. But just see that discussion at that table and see the reference to talking about the topics we're viewing now. And start the conversation about the next phase of life. And start the conversation about the shifts to get to this next higher stage of life. Not this nice, good, enjoyable, quicker one, but the big work we're here to do in this lifetime. Maybe not completing all of it in one plan, one short plan, and one discussion, but one big step towards it. And see everybody at the table offering what their big step is going to be, offering how they're going to level up, how they're going to shift, how they're going to do it. Being open and honest and vulnerable about the support they believe they require or would really prefer to have that could help them or maybe is essential for them to get to that stage. See, it's your turn and you're looking forward to sharing what you'd like help with because these beings are here for you and they've helped you in the past and you helped them. It's been delightful to give and receive the support. And consider what you're about to say and consider the level of ambition in it. And realize you know the proper ambition to set. You know the proper bar to set for you. You know it's pie in the sky. You know it's not really even trying because it's already kind of done and you'd just be glorifying it. You know what's a stretch, but what is doable. And you're grounded and adult, and you know your stretch above the stretch can be the thing you were thinking about, or maybe 5 stretches above can be the super ideal major life goal, but you're grounded enough to know what you can manifest, say, in these next 3 months or this next time frame, whatever it is. And having that knowing, I'd like for you to consider and think about sharing from the heart why you so look forward to this shift. Why you so look forward to leaving behind your old self, certain parts of your old self. How you'll still be you, but that certain behavior pattern, that certain thinking pattern, that certain acting or eating pattern, or response pattern, or judgment pattern. Any or all of those, just see which ones feel right to change. Which ones you know you can change. Which ones you know you can change with a bit of effort, but you know you have the capacity for that effort in a sustained, healthy way. And so you share to the group and really consider and hear in your inner ear what you're saying. And as you're speaking, feel completely free to elaborate as much as you'd like in any ways and all ways. Share more. We want to hear you. We want to know what you care about. We want to know who you want to be. What can we do for you? How can we help you? How do you feel about this shift that's upcoming? Do you feel scared? Do you feel excited? Do you feel both? And allow yourself to bookmark this vision for part of your meditation practice, because it could be half an hour more. And if it's really flowing, then pause the video, or perhaps even restart the video from the beginning so you'll know when you get back to this, you move on. And just tune in to your inner vision, or maybe play some music, or otherwise the workshop is just going to continue as normal. And in this setting, anytime you go into it, know that you have access anytime to play music or to listen to a certain thing, and to be in this space, in this world with these supportive beings where you can fully and completely and openly share. Allow yourself to be shifted. Allow yourself to be in this space and receive this support. And you hear a knock on a certain cave door, and a certain box says, "Hey, I thought we weren't going to fool ourselves. Hey, this is a fantasy." You're like, "Hey, box, thanks for your thoughts." And you turn that dial and put the clouds in front again. And the box says, "Hey, no, wait, I want to be heard. I'm the objection of your ego. I'm your smaller self. I'm still part of you, whatever you think of me." And you look at everyone around the table, and almost like a slight embarrassment of a pet or a child that was misbehaving, you consider whether to allow your, thoughts of your lower self, of your self-doubting self, to be present. And then as you do, a few people smile and lift up their boxes from under the table, and they put them up, and they're like, "They've been here the whole time. We've just made peace with them, and we never disowned them." I'd say, yeah, but how do you tune out? Why need to tune out? So allow yourself to consider, are you ready to graduate and let that box be here? Let the people you know and care about what's going on in your inner world. Don't let it be trapped. If you're that honest and open and vulnerable with somebody who's mature and kind and knows you and gets you, they're not going to light you on fire. They're not going to run away and never talk with you again. If they're a true friend, if you've built up to this, if you've tested approaches to this, if they're at this table, you can share with them. And no matter what the truth or state of those elements, the highest selves of your friends are always available for this visualization. Your guides, your guardians, your role models, your best teachers, your best inner simulacrums of anybody you've ever met or known or thought of. You have this council of wise beings. And you can be in this room and be in this house and be in this life at any time. And these dialogues are real. And as you have these dialogues, you manifest these relationships, more of these close relationships. And as you float back through your perfect living environment, you manifest that, you call that in. You're clear on its elements. Any decision that is other than this is likely not the decision to make. Unless, the scenario is urgent, but the real you, the high you, the version of you that you're stepping into, you can see this next living environment, and one more thing will be aligned, one more number will be up the scale permanently without having to effort to it when this is your environment. With your work, whatever your work is, whatever your work means, whatever the reasons for it or behind it, think of what you wish it to be. See and know the work that you would thrive the most, that you would love the most. Finances are not related. Finances are covered. If finances are earned through time with this work, fine. If finances are arrived through any other means that felt aligned and in flow for you, great. Finances are not part of this focus. This focus is where you're investing the majority of your time to create change and impact in the world. Any other definition is completely up to you. The number of hours per day, the industry or lack of industry, what others might think of it, whether it's rare or common, none of that matters. What would you love to be doing and thrive to be doing, at least for a time? And I see a window open, and through that window is a moving image of life and scenery in the space. And as you see those elements, please allow yourself to just walk through this window. And now, from a third person perspective, see yourself doing this work. See the expression on your face. See a zip through time for all the time that would be invested in a day or a week. See flashes of images of you from a third person perspective doing this work. Now speed up time even more, weeks, months, years. See the impact this work has had on the world. See images, see visions, see elements. And as you're seeing all of these things, really allow yourself to feel what you would naturally feel. The box can be with you, but the box is silent. The box has grown up a bit. You two can talk later. This is just your soulful knowing of you serving in this work. And now zoom in a bit more on your face, on your body language, on your body as a whole. And any of these images of the past several years, of a day or week, of a snapshot of a moment, zoom into several of those again. See your face. See your face an hour later. See your face an hour after that. See, as you're in a room full of people, after you leave the room, see how they talk about you. And see their energy fields when they think about you. In this aligned champion life, where there's a cause and an impact that's occurring, see news stations, see books, see Facebook posts about you. What do they say? How are they written? How does that make you feel? Is this something you want to take a snapshot of and put that snapshot in a special room where you can review it at any time? I'd offer that it probably is. The validation, the seeing of your potential actualized. Finally, you are seen by the world at large. And finally, you got that people see through their own lenses, in their own reality. And you were able to rise in your personal power to affect change in the consensus reality, not just your inner reality. And no matter how many times you had an inner reality that may not have been fully expressed, fully materialized, fully seen, felt, experienced by others in your inner vision, now that is so. See how that feels. And that feeling of you being seen that so many of us want for so much of our lives. Realize that in this moment, that feeling has a roadmap. The old roadmap of not having this feeling and wondering why, or being sad about not being seen, or anything else. Realize that there wasn't a roadmap. That was just two things that happened at the same time. Now you have a roadmap to being seen by the world at large for who you truly are, not just in potential, but in actual actualization. But for that actualization to occur, you must be self-actualized to the extent where you are this person. Now I want you to see two selves side by side, this person, this champion you, and another image of yourself that for all practical purposes is not. I want you to introduce them, give them each names. Can't use your first name, can't use the name, can't use a derogatory name. They should both be neutral. And you're the facilitator between these two parts of yourself, the champion, the non-champion. What do you notice? Is there judgment, scorn, shame, guilt, fear? Or is there, wow, I could be mentored by my future self. Heck yeah. Future self, oh yeah, I so appreciated getting this. I'm so looking forward to gifting this, right? And there's a partnership. And the non-champion offers a path to a solution and asks the champion for their thoughts. Champion you gives the thoughts in a loving way, inspiring, transmitting that vibration of champion that it can be done, and here's how it can be done. And the non-champion fully accepting it. Any energy that needs to shift or move around the system, let the champion future self energy move that stuff to be healed, those blocks, those limitations, those anything of those categories and more. Let the champion energy shine bright on the non-champion, shift that stuff away. And as it shifted away, allow yourself to feel the lightness of not having to do so much personal development work, of simply tuning into a vibration of yourself and taking more of it in. Sure, there's this perceived gap of time, but in higher dimensional realities, that gap matters much less. And as an interdimensional being, you can take some of those qualities and pull them in. The material reflections may take time, as material reflections take time, but keeping that vibration, holding it, consider what you create. You create based on the vibration dominant in your being. So now just for 1 to 2 minutes, I want you to stay connected with this future self. Stay connected with this champion version. Stay connected with the non-champion version. See, feel, observe, support, love this dialogue. Be with it. And just let it happen. Maybe there's relaxed play and it's not all serious work. Maybe the non-champion asks the champion to demonstrate. And so you see your champion self demonstrating something in some way with a chosen emotion or with non-emotion. And the non-champion self looks, oh, I can do that. Imagine the non-champion self asking your champion self to deconstruct something complex, so it's no longer massive or daunting. And your champion self breaks it down and just breaks it down into steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the champion step has something to say about how long each step takes, best times to do it, how to prepare through body, mind, and spirit, what to expect, and what could go wrong. Just like there always could be hidden variables, and how to be okay with those. The non-champion wants to ask about something but might be hesitant, and so the champion self says, that thing you considered a failure, if you're still alive, you can still improve. And if it's over, why keep feeding it any thought energy? And the old non-champion self wonders why, and it's familiar to keep thinking about this failure. The champion self says, let me show you something else. And they go do something else, totally unrelated to that failure. And as they're doing something else, that failure has a little seedling sprout and leaves sprout around it, and a little tree just starts growing over that failure. And so when the champion and older self return, they see a tree and they realize they could look through the branches, and if they really wanted to explore the failure, they could, but otherwise there's a tree. And the failure served the tree in allowing it to grow a certain shape. That tree is valuable, and that tree represents a certain something, you know what. And now with a lighter heart, the older self asks the champion, so hey, how am I doing? And the champion holds up a little statistic meter, and it shows the original self having leveled up another 14% towards the champion vibration. And the original self says, well, this is kind of cool. I can probably be happy with 14% in one meditation or one day. And champion's like, yeah, that's the attitude. It'll take however long it takes, but it's a finite amount of time. Other people have done this. You've done this before. And when you're here, I'll help you maintain it. And so will the other people at the table. And with that relaxed knowing, I want you to see memories of the next years and the next decades flashing by at different speeds and intervals back and forward through time. And to see different aspects of your life as a champion. Just see different elements of the things to occur of this level of alignment. See the stories, feel the feelings, travel to the places, shift the world as the world is shifted and see its many shiftings. Feel and experience much more love. Be at peace. Feel damn good. And then at some point, a twinkling into light. And that light, which represents a shift from a certain way of being, you in your inner world look at that light, and that light's looking at you. And you see it's a type of mirror, but in it there's so much more. And if it feels comfortable, just reach out and just touch that light. And if it feels right for something to happen next, let it happen. And totally free with whatever flows, any experience with you in this light, let it happen and have it happen as often as would be delightful for you. And if this feels so good, you want to hit pause and bask in it for a long time, please do so now. And after your experience with this light is coming to shift where you know you'll always be connected with it, and yet you can be primarily focused on other things, consider shifting away from the light and feel the difference when you shift away from the light. And I realize maybe you can keep the light in front of you, not have it as a side note. Always walk in and towards the light. And now I want you to see the different life memories from earlier. I want you to see the different projects to level up as champion. I want you to see any of the images that came up for you in the last 24 hours inside and outside of this workshop, but see them as if they would be done now as you walk in the light, as you walk towards the light. And see how they change. See how you change. See how you feel walking, living, acting in and towards the light. See what naturally, effortlessly for you comes differently. See, feel, hear, be, know, do, believe, being. A being walking in the light. And just allow yourself as a thought experiment to walk away from the light and let time speed up faster and faster, more years go by, and see the trajectory of that life compared with the same amount of chronological time with a life walking in and towards the light. And just notice the difference. And as you notice the difference, whatever comes up, comes up. It's all perfect. And with me coming back towards the light, but the light of the moment back in the world of the 3D, yet still connected to this vision, not ending the meditation, but taking it with you. Before you open your eyes, you see and sense the light in front of you. Maybe it is a huge pyramid where it's on its side and the top of the pyramid is going into your third eye, a bright light. Maybe it's a different visual, but as you're feeling that light go into your third eye, keep your eyes closed, and I just want you to rub your fingers together. And so you're connected to this high awareness and light. And we're just going to hang out here and just rubbing your fingers together and remembering your body. Now you're adding more information to your senses. Can you still sense the light? Or is it 90, 80%? So now pause moving your fingers, let your hands be as they were, and go back to the light. Let that light, that pyramid of light, go into your forehead or in any other orientation that feels right, and be in the light, take in the light, walk towards the light, feel the light, and see different elements and scenarios of your life as you're in the light. Now you're feeling the light pretty close to 100%. And as you're feeling and seeing, just with one hand, rub your fingers together and instantly consider, did that take your light focus down by 5%, by 0, by 10? Is it down more because you're thinking about something else? And now as you're rubbing your fingers together, just keep rubbing your fingers together, stop thinking about it, yet move more towards the light. Move back towards 100%. If your fingers stop, start them up again. Move towards the light. Be in the light 100%. Keep that smooth circle with your fingers. And if it's been smooth and it's been increasing, add a second finger. And with your second finger, now both of them are moving. Your fingers and your thumb are brushing against each other. Your eyes are closed and you're moving towards the light. You're in the light. You're feeling the light. It's coming into you. It feels great. You know its trajectory. And how about your hands? And you're expanding your capacity for attention and parallel processing. How much in the light are you? And so we continue. Now we want to rub our palms up and down as we're in the light, walking in the light, and you want to move your palms in circles, staying in the light, being in the light. Reverse the circles of your palms and be in the light the same amount. Reverse the circles more in the same light, walking in the light, being in the light. Clap your hands lightly. Don't make too much of a sound. Being in the light, walking in the light, being towards the light, being, feeling infused with the light, living as the light. Open your eyes, let your hands be still. How much of the light do you feel now? Consider feeling more and more, maybe tune more into the light. Don't close your eyes, but focus more on that light and let what's in front that you can perceive with your eyes or your ears, let that be secondary. Start ignoring details. Focus on the light. Be in the light. Walk in the light as the light enters you. See and know how your life is, how your personality self is as one with and of and in the light. And now start blinking your eyes and start looking left and right. And start just paying attention to the things in your room and now being in the light. You're seeing the things in your room and you're feeling in the light. You're maybe thinking about the use of one or two objects and you're feeling and being in the light. You're being in the light and you're considering the use of an object in your room from the perspective as one of the light. As you consider what you will be doing tomorrow, you are walking in the light. You are being in the light. You are bringing the light to what you are doing tomorrow. You are bringing the light as who you are tomorrow. As you're going through your day tomorrow, you're going through it in light. And if you can feel that light as bright as you could with your eyes closed earlier in this workshop, in your inner vision, then you've done it. And you're a step closer to living as the light. Now, if you want to be a master at this as quickly as possible, with every ounce of stamina, anytime you stop walking in the light, start up again. If that means bookmarking this video where the meditation started and this moment, do that. Listen to that once, twice, 5, 10 times a day. Leave a comment each time. Remind yourself, show yourself that progress. However you do it, if you can stay in the light and be in the light first, nothing else matters. In the light, there's automatic transmutation. In the light, if there's a desire for something to manifest, you're already charged up. You're already in positive emotion. You're already full of prana. That manifestation is on its way. There's a life scenario. There's something to adapt to. There's something to do. There's something not to do. There's a relationship experience, if you're in the light and coming from the light, things are fine. If the other person has no experience with you, like glowing in the light, and you freak them out and they run for the hills, that's their story, right? Now you can keep the light inward, and you can be aware of the light deep in your core. And it can be present in you and it can shine from you, but you don't need to be radiating, vibrating it so much. You can keep the light in you, and it doesn't need to be so intense, right? It's intense in here. There are some scenarios where that may make sense. Going to the bank, for example, maybe not. And it can be even deeper still, where if for a certain reason, how certain conversation has to go, you need to see more as typical people seem. Are you aware of the light deep in you? Have you not lost your sight of it? And at every opportunity, are you walking as the light? Are you being in the light? Are you living and loving in and of and as the light? I know I am, and it feels really great. And I don't want to shift out of this into normal workshop talky Q&A mode. I am loving this. So I'm going to hold this vibration for a bit longer. And I'm going to offer for you to experience how the light transforms. And I'll help show you, I'll let you peek under the hood of something psychological in a minute about that. But as you're walking in the light, as you're holding and feeling the light, things don't matter as much. You can choose a cause and an effect. You can scratch an itch. Whatever is full of light, so it's great. Oh, something needs to be done of what others would call a serious nature very soon. Okay, you go about that serious nature topic as the light, in the light, of the light. And a person has an opinion that may not be a kind opinion of you as the light. And you're like, hey, thanks. And they get angry or they laugh or whatever. That is what it is, right? Sir, you were speeding. Oh, I am the light. Okay, how much do I owe? Right? Not I am the light. Drop what you're doing and join my cult. No. But being as much of a champion of light that you can be. And realizing that shifting through the higher realms, shifting through the higher states of consciousness, it's actually way easier than trying to force it in a root chakra vibration or trying to surround yourself with people just to be like them. And if you're not around them or you don't feel comfortable or they don't feel comfortable around you, you don't have that, you're dependent on them, or trying to force it with your will. And then you run into willpower limitations and stamina limitations. Or trying to always feel excited and fiery, a different component of the heart, even though the light is focused on the heart in this case. Or, really, really trying to tell everybody and trying to be it and make it, like have it come from a place chakra dominant that isn't as whole and isn't complete, escaping or being a know-it-all and being frustrated at those who don't know, right? If the light is wholly, fully in and within you, distributed completely, you're great. You are beautiful. And of course, you're beautiful without this light practice or one like it, but feel the difference. And I'd offer to hold it as long as you can. Can you imagine living from this as often as you chose? Okay, maybe not every single waking hour in every situation. We all live differently. But anytime you feel like it, just like lifting a finger, could you lift in and be of and walk in and be infused with and as and of and be the light? I hope so. And I'm here for you if you'd like support with that, because I know I could use support with that, because every time I feel the light, I know that there's more to feel. And I know it's so easy to get distracted in this material world. And to look under the hood for a second, I'm often my best as I'm transmitting, as I'm teaching, because this is what I love. This is what I'm here to do. Earlier today, when I had to go to a storage unit and when I had to do a bunch of cleaning, and when I got to, or when I was eating a meal and considering again how much more quickly to become breatharian, and saying, "Oh no, focus on the meal." When I was brushing my teeth, I didn't feel as infused with light as I do now, and I'm admitting that, and it feels vulnerable to admit that. Um, but your humanity is okay. Your pace of progress is okay. If you can hold it once a day for 3.5 minutes, okay, great. Next day, go for 4 minutes. But if you only do 3.5 the next day, all right. If you can only do two next day, but you at least do two, okay. If you only do a breath, as long as you keep up something. But if you want an upward spiral, just consider living from the light. All right, so we're going to shift into transitioning out of this workshop. I feel more and more ready to teach and transmit and offer for longer periods of times. And so, last year I was doing a Bali retreat. I was planning to offer that, and it was a bit too soon. Teaching and transmitting and supporting a group all day for 5 days before and after international travel, it's a big energy requirement to do that authentically and fully, sustainably. And I feel closer to being able to do that. So for everyone who's tuning in, everyone who has tuned in, who has commented, who has contributed in some form through a ticket or a kind word or a psychic thought or a smile or whatever, just being here, that's helped me feel comfortable with this work and serving in this way. And that's helped me do this more often, to be honest. And of course, a lot of those shifts were my choice and my intentional and intrinsic motivations and efforts and initiatives. But we all have extrinsic, intrinsic components, and I care that if I'm offering something for others to take into their life, my best better show up, right? And what I've learned, having a structure, a committed structure of 4 workshops a week, and the schedule is going to come up pretty soon. I believe it'll be Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday as my 4 evenings a week, and I'm going to consider the times as well. As I have to choose to show up as my best self for 2 hours a day, I'm my best self more often in life. I often ask Qigong teachers why they teach, and they say a lot of Qigong teachers teach so they keep doing Qigong because it's more motivating when you teach. And honestly, with everything that's been happening as of this recording with Corona and the significant amount of additional work and tasks and projects and adjustments I've undertaken for myself and for other beings, it's been really nice being my best self more, because then if your top bar is raised, your bottom's got to raise as well, right? And not just rock bottom that you only hit occasionally, but it really sucks. I'm saying the average lowest point of a given day, whether that means for you giving into a vice or following bad advice. I did it again. That was really bad. I should only take credit for a rhyme if it's something that's not a crime or that you can't buy for a dime. So you know what your average low is. Maybe if you drink a glass of wine a day, it's drinking 2 or 3 glasses for more than one day in a row for not really any good reason. Maybe it's watching or reading something that really doesn't level you up, but is entertaining and you can zone out, and maybe you get more angry or negative because of it. The lower points on average in a day, the things that you're kind of ready to get rid of. You're kind of ready to say, all right, this component of self, I'm just going to put you here or throw you in that garbage, and that's going to open up some space, maybe 10 minutes a day, maybe 150 calories a day, whatever it is, for this other thing, right? Maybe instead of that snack bar, it's half an avocado or a whole avocado and all the awesome health stuff that does, whatever it is. Maybe instead of, 10, 15 extra minutes on TikTok or something, It's actually practicing a piano song for some time on your computer, projected by your phone in real life, learning to juggle. It's just time that you really appreciate as you cultivate. Maybe it's doing the meditations that we've been experiencing together and having those upgrades. Just a 15-minute chunk of time a day. So I'd love to go for longer, but my publisher today recommended I start getting ready for 20-minute videos. And I'm like, 20 minutes? I go for 2 hours. I care about depth. How can I teach in 20 minutes? But that's a challenge I'm looking forward to. So if you see me start shaving these workshops down from 2 hours to less, honestly, I'll probably just be giving more workshops. They'll probably be back to back, but they'll be shorter. But I will probably discipline myself to maybe have some pauses between 20-minute workshops just to release my attachment from needing, wanting, loving to stay in this state a certain day, a certain length of time at once. Because, a positive addiction is still an addiction. And so I don't want to be dependent on 2, 3, 4 hour workshops to stay high vibey. Even though I may provide that much content each day, I think by constantly mixing the format and by mixing the factor of mixing and by having times the format is identical, say for a month, there's so many ways to grow and stretch and learn and explore and test your boundaries and face your aversions to those boundaries. So as you're considering the list of things to do, the list of qualities you'd like to experience, the elements of your ideal home, your ideal work, your ideal impact, your ideal relationships, as you're considering making your affirmation creation, that thing we talked about an hour and a half ago that I encourage you to do, and actually recording it and actually listening to it, every single person I've trained that I've worked with one-on-one and a bunch from online have said when they do that, it affects them so much, so much. I've experienced greater physical fitness because of visualizations related to fitness. I've literally seen changes in my body, and it's been easy, if not effortless, to make changes in my diet. I've had the desire and the flow to just like flex certain muscles in certain ways that I visualize being more toned or stronger than they had been before the visualization. And I noticed that it was easier, it felt good to do those things. I don't have to force myself to do those things. There have been manifestations I've wanted to occur, things with meeting a certain type of person at a certain time, or things related to reasonable amounts of money, things often related to family, believe it or not, things related to the weather, a whole bunch. And it's great when those happen. It's great being in those state when those happen. And the more I do my ACs, and I do a more advanced version I'll share in a second, the more that stuff happens. And for those of you who are all right, okay, give me the advanced stuff. Don't maybe wait 5 or 6 workshops. The advanced version of the AC takes way more discipline, but it's creating a new one every day, and it's receiving a new one every day. So creation and surrender receiving. And as you transition, because you do need to transition, you should not skip a step or you likely won't build the proper form, is you only do the visualization if you've listened to or watched the recorded version in the last 24 hours. That way you don't slip aside a certain point, you make sure you get a certain baseline, and if you've created a visualization, then, as long as you create another visualization in the next 24 hours, you don't need to watch it. But if you haven't done anything, then the next thing you have to do is watch something. So that way you keep yourself in check and it builds it into the system. Now, the other looking behind the hood, the one that I foreshadowed earlier, is, you remember in the beginning when I talked about speaking slowly versus speaking quickly and resistance from the mind? Well, I did that as we came out of the light. And as we came out of the light, I'm just going to, in this moment, decide to set up a positive trigger. When I say the word light in any context, just feel more light. I offer that to you too. Like, namaste is so 20th century, bro. Light. And we just charge up. Let's memify that, bro. Or girl, whoever I'm talking with. So as you consider, was your mind as active after coming from the light when I was speaking slowly then compared with, and yeah, there may have been some psychological priming that was to, rev up the minds of anybody who it wasn't occurring with, just to have an example be experienced. So full disclosure, I disclose that whenever I do it. When you notice the mind not being active all the time, yet space for it to be, silence and stillness, mini vipassana chunks, and the spirit is still, and the emotions are still. I'm moving around a lot, mainly because I'm not used to standing for 2 to 3 hours a day, in addition to my regular exercise routine so often. So I've been doing more leg and foot stretching. So I'm sorry if I've been a bit fidgety. That's part of my self-care 25-hour a day thing, and hopefully it's engaging for you. It's a little bit closer to actually being live and watching somebody on stage. I'm even considering getting a different camera and microphone so I can walk around, so it can be more engaging for you, like you're doing a workout video or actually walking around. And by the way, if you're watching this during quarantine, um, please consider taking the same care of your body as you did if you were walking around. I bought a treadmill, and it's a simple one. It can go 3 miles per hour max. So if it's raining, I can walk. Social distancing says 6 feet. I have no health commentary whatsoever on federal or local guidelines. But with a treadmill, no matter what, you can walk each day. Counting your steps is always nice. Just keep up moving, right? In the light, of the light. Okay, last call for Q&A. We actually don't have many this week, which usually means people were very absorbed and might hit me up later. Either way, I'm happy to answer, even if you comment on something 2 weeks later. I do my best to respond to all comments for notifications. So a little bit of housekeeping before we talk about future workshops. So if you really appreciated this workshop, first of all, thank you for coming. I set it up donation-based and then freely live streamed on Facebook and YouTube, so it's as widely accessible as possible. Whenever anybody donates to any of my events or purchases anything that I have out there, it helps me serve more in this way and serve more deeply, more permanently, at a bigger scale and higher quality. And I'm vibrating in abundance, and I love that. And if you'd like to share in that vibration and also access certain things that don't stay highly visible for a long time, but that are really organized, and for some members only stuff, just check the links of wherever this appeared. And there's tons of stuff if you'd like more. There's a book called Magic is Real, which my publisher likes and wants to make some changes to. So it's getting a lot of great feedback. So if you really want it, get it now, because it'll be a revised edition pretty soon. In future workshops, there are so many workshops that I plan to give, teaching, transmitting, offering, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I mentioned the astral projection series will be a series of 13. And as far as magic, mystical, esoteric, higher level abilities, if you've been to 1 or 2 of those, it goes way more than astral projection. So it's really a magical curriculum with a fun word that is part of the curriculum and is a great bridge between 3D and 4D, and 4D and higher realms of higher magics. And I'm considering other topics as well. So I love channeling deity. I love educating anything related to health, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. There's a lot of practical stuff related to business, related to life purpose, related to intuition, related to mystical skills. So there's a lot we can talk about. So anytime you want to request something, please do. And the next few workshops are actually going to be scheduled and talked about in a few days if you're watching this live. The reason being is I am co-creating a course with John Patrick Mueller, beautiful human, former Buddhist monk, and the course is called Soul Align Mastermind, and it'll be released in a couple weeks. I'll be posting about it a lot. And if you're on my email list, you'll hear about that too, if you see my emails. And that'll be a very specific course, optimizing and aligning a lot of the stuff we teach at a deeper level with private weekly lives and an extra bank of recorded videos to support people. And so I'll be recording the pre-recorded videos for that course in the next several days. But I'll do my best to have a few lives then, and regular workshop routine will likely resume about a week or so from now if you're watching live. And this time I'll do my best to have more than 4 or 5 up at a time. I'll do my best. I think I have 18 mapped out, so I'll do my best to get all those 18 online, so you can register for them individually or in bulk. and have your email calendar notification set up however is right for you. So with that, everybody, yeah, and an esoteric Seder, please say more. As always, it's really an honor and a pleasure to serve you. I'm extremely grateful for your time here today. I love being of service in these ways. As mentioned, this is me at my best in many ways, and I love it. And I love you for giving me the space to be and to be here. And as always, if anybody really feels called to help inspire and level up the world in significant ways, I'm looking for a few volunteers for a few projects. So the first is organizing magical research. So the science of magic, we could really use that. It could be very valuable for credibility and any Muggle friends or family who care about us but don't understand us if we're more on the woo side. Future books. So I have a lot of content that I've created that I could use help with editing and formatting for books so more people can access it around the world. So if you like doing that and you'd like to volunteer for that, let me know. I also want to get more concrete plans for the 100,000 expert magicians. I've talked about this enough, and I think it's time for the talk to shift into some action. So that would involve us discussing what would it be like to have 100,000 expert magicians coordinated in regular healings, manifestations, anything that would be ideal for the world, and ideally at the level of impact that world leaders would appreciate and request it. That's pretty high level. And if you feel that that's something you'd like to be a part of, please reach out and we can talk about volunteering there. Two other things are Temple of Lakshmi. Here she is again, which is a temple of abundance in all forms. So financially, any ways of living in terms of food and shelter, supporting people, educating people about all those areas, and everything related to training for new jobs or living in a different world or different economy than we're used to, which looks like that's happening in some ways now and maybe other ways later, maybe not. And it'll be the first of 3 temples I'll be building that have a 10,000 person capacity. So if that excites you, please reach out about that. And the last is Atlantis Reborn. That has a founding date of 2041, so starting early, and an idealized 10 million person pinnacle of spiritual and technological civilization, super open sourced, super transparent, really high vibey, a great place that can show the best of what we can be as a humanity, as a civilization. That's pretty far encompassing. So if you'd like to help with that in some way, please let me know. And as always, if you would like a previous workshop, please mention it in the comments, and all previous workshops are recorded. They all can be made available, or I can link you to a place where they already are available. And gosh, I'm so jazzed and looking forward to other ones. And I succeeded by ending 15 minutes earlier than yesterday. You're welcome, Misty. And again, everybody, thank you so much. It's been really delightful serving you and being here with you. And I just wish you, all you wish for yourself. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.